like the way he talk, and I'm not in this position because of any. I'm in this position if he wants to work with me.
We thought there would never be a MAGA match between Canelo Alvarez and Terence Crawford, but there seems to be hope again, after Canelo Alvarez and Saudi boxing mogul Turki Alalshikh ended their fight on a live call. You can guess who helped them get along, but before we get to that, things have been pretty bad between the two for a few weeks. Canelo Alvarez was the first boxer to get into a fight with Turki Alalshikh. It had to be a big fighter like Canelo Alvarez because few others have the fan base and reputation to compete with Turki Alalshikh, whose money has changed the sport of boxing in this generation. It's interesting that all of that happened in the past. Their fight ended after a live call where Hearn brought them together as a mediator. Hearn has worked as Canelo Alvarez's promoter after the fighter signed with Matchroom Boxing Promotions for some fights. He now works with Turki Alalshikh and has been one of the biggest beneficiaries of Turki Alalshikh's boxing investment, as the Matchroom stable has seen countless interesting matches fixed due to Turki Alalshikh's influence. Hearn was with Turki Alalshikh when he made the call with Canelo Alvarez. It was clear that Hearn had engaged Turki and Canelo in different conversations before the call. He gave them a chance to talk things over.
But I also understand Sal's position, which was, look, I've got a fight coming up. No, I'm not. I'm focused on that, and then we'll talk later. Sal's gonna do whatever the fuck Sal wants to do. Do you know what I'm saying? Yeah. So, like, and I love the strategy.
Canelo Alvarez thinks the fight against Edgar Berlanga is very important, even with Edgar Berlanga's trash talking. He also thinks that beating Edgar Berlanga is very important for the fight against Crawford. He thought Turki didn't bring up the subject until after Crawford fought Israel Madrimov, since that was the biggest problem the Omaha fighter was facing.
Whether it's even a strategy that Sal has, which is like, you pay me the money, I'll have the fight.
Canelo thinks they weren't following those rules with him even though he was the huge favorite. He thinks that beating Edgar Berlanga is the only way to get ready for the Crawford fight, so he doesn't need any other distractions right now. Turki, on the other hand, didn't get any of this after talking to them separately. Hearn had each person explain their point of view to the other person and then put them on a live call to end the argument. Canelo quickly explained himself and said sorry during the short call.
But he's also got a price in mind.
Yeah, true. I mean, he keeps saying 200 million for David.
On the other hand, Turki discussed the misinterpretation and stated that Canelo should have communicated more effectively. Canelo handled the issue like he had been looking for a reason to develop a beef. However, Turki Alalshikh wished him well against Berlanga, hoping they would be able to make the Crawford fight once he emerges victorious before the call ended. Canelo also described his fight against Berlanga as a mere coincidence, as he always fights on Mexican Independence Day, and contrary to the rumors made by many, including Oscar de la Hoya, he isn't fighting to stage a competition with Turki. Alas, at the UFC event, one could easily see Eddie's interest in ending the beef since it started, as he has a very good relationship with Canelo and Turki, hence he wouldn't want to be kept in the middle of something as tricky as that. But that's not longer, as peace has finally taken its place between the two.
I think it's probably two guys that are used to getting what they want. Do you know what I mean? And, you know, when His Excellency asked Canelo to meet.
In his video interview, Matchroom promoter Hearn talks about his position between Saudi Arabia's Turki, who's essentially been financing the biggest fights in boxing lately, and Mexican star Canelo Alvarez, who wasn't interested in pursuing negotiations with Alalshikh at the present moment. While there's clearly some tension between the sides, Hearn doesn't think it's something that can't be eventually overcome, and tries to explain the difference in mindsets between the two people.
And I think that probably put his back up a little bit. You know, I think as well, like, Canelo.
On the beef between Canelo and Turki Alalshikh, Hearn said, "It's difficult because obviously I'm very fond of both. I think firstly His Excellency has one thing on his mind, make the biggest fights that can be made in boxing, and I think he probably shares a lot of the frustration of boxing fans over the last few years, and I think what he's bringing to the sport is extremely refreshing because he has no interest in per fights." He then continued, he just wants to make the biggest fights that can be made, so in His Excellency's mind the fights that he wants to see are Canelo Alvarez against Terence Crawford and Can Alvarez against David Benavidez.
Has this idea in his head to make these incredible marquee fights, which is amazing for boxing, right?
He reached out to me, His Excellency, the night of the first press conference in New York, and he said to me, "I want to make Canelo versus Crawford. Go and speak to Saul, let's make this fight." I said okay, and I reached out to Saul and said, "His Excellency wants to make this fight. I think you should go to see him in Los Angeles, he's there." And Saul just said, "Look, I'm focused on this fight. I won't talk about another fight till after this fight."
Frustrated like all of us fight fans, do you know what I mean? but he actually has the ability to make them because he has the war chest to do it. And I think he was probably frustrated.
Also, he added, and I think His Excellency probably can't understand that. I think it's an anger of, let's make the fight come on. You have to understand the way he works and the way they do business is incredible. This is what we want to do. This is massive. Let's get it done. And for one reason or another, Canelo didn't want to have those conversations, and then it's the frustration of, why not? We're here. We can make the deal. Now you come to the hotel now and we will get a deal done one tonight.
You know, I love Canelo. I think he's a great fighter. He's got his own mind. He does business his way. And if the deal's right, doesn't matter who it is, Sal will get it done.
It's an amazing way to work, and it's so refreshing for boxing, but it wasn't the way Canelo wanted to do that deal. He wanted to wait until after the Berlanga fight, which frustratingly for His Excellency kills the Crawford fight for February because he wants to get that fight made now. Their feud began in the early days of August after Turki Alalshikh, the man who has served as the figurehead for the Rad Season movement and is mainly responsible for injecting life into the boxing world, posted an informative update on social media. He discussed his plans to continue producing boxing events in the United States and provided information on possible next steps for some of the top names he's already worked with over the past few years. Most notably, when he called out Canelo regarding a fight with Crawford, it's not something he wants anymore. Crawford has shared his desire to fight. Canelo, calling it a legacy fight that could provide generational wealth, has publicly stated his plans to make it happen.
We will send you 2 gloves if you want to play in Saudi Arabia. That's it.
On Tuesday, Canelo was asked to give the reward amount he'd want to fight Crawford, and he told one reporter $150 million. It's unclear if that was a serious demand or posturing. It's also unclear if that reaction pushed Alalshikh to abandon making the Canelo-Crawford superhighway. In any case, the fight looks dead as of now. Those of us who have been around the boxing world for a while know that death is a day-to-day idea, especially in fight negotiations. If both sides truly desire to fight, it can and will happen eventually. That said, Crawford and Canelo are still looking for choices. Canelo will face Edgar Berlanga on September 14th in Las Vegas. The Mexican legend will face the UFC on that date, as the mixed martial arts promotion will give one of its biggest shows ever despite promoter interest. Canelo Alvarez has apparently thrown cold water on the prospect of a mega fight with Terence Crawford. Alvarez set to face the young phenom Berlanga on September 14th. However, recent discussions surrounding a possible fight against Crawford offered by Turki Alalshikh have created a frenzy.
Because of any. I'm in this position. If he wants to work with me, it's in my way.
Speaking on the matter, Alvarez said, "I'm not asking for that fight. I think Teofimo Lopez deserves it more than me." My answer to Turki is that yesterday they texted me to talk about the Crawford fight in February, and I said I'm not going to talk about any other fight. I'm focused 100% on this Edgar Berlanga fight. I respect Turki, but if he wants to work with me, it needs to be my way. Following Canelo Alvarez's comment, Turki Alalshikh has now stated that he is no longer interested in chasing the fight between Alvarez and Terence Crawford.
It's not the way to approach. It's not the way to approach to me. Look, I respect everybody and I respect Turkey.
Alalshikh has chosen to shift gears, announcing his disinterest in pursuing the bout. Instead, he will focus on building Crawford's profile in the US market and promoting other top fighters like Devin Shocker Stevenson and Gervonta Davis. On the other hand, Saul Canelo Alvarez doesn't like to talk future plans when he has a fight on his immediate schedule, and he emphasized how that point applies even when pressed by boxing's newest big power dealer Turki Alalshikh.
Look, if he wants to work with me, it need to be in my way.
Alvarez said he was contacted by Alalshikh on Monday about the possibility of having a February fight in Saudi Arabia against newly crowned junior middleweight and 4 division champion Terence Crawford. "They called me yesterday," Alvarez told PPV.com in a Tuesday interview before his news conference with September 14th super middleweight opponent Edgar Berlanga at the Beverly Hills Hotel.
Look, I don't want to talk. Crawford is a great fighter, and I don't want to talk about that.
They wanted to meet with me and see about the fight with Crawford in February. I said, "Look, I'm not interested in talking about another fight after September 14th. We can talk, but not right now." Alalshikh then announced on X late Monday night that just wrapped up an important meeting now with my team planning for the future fights that we will make for 2024 to 2025. I chose to disregard the Canelo fight as I don't want it anymore. Instead, I will be focused on the US market with bigger fights, especially for the legendary Crawford. He added, I am focusing on Riyadh season card, Wembley edition 21st of September Anthony Joshua vs Dubois, and depending on the results of Riyadh season's opening card, Bivol vs Beterbiev, on the 12th of October. I will build the card for the rematch of Fury vs Usyk on the 21st of December and another big card in the first quarter of 2025. Stay tuned. For division and unified super middleweight champion Alvarez said he told his occasional manager Hearn the same thing at the first stop of his Bangs press tour in New York.
I don't really care about it. Look, I'm focused 100% on my fight, and I don't really care about it. They called me yesterday. They text me yesterday.
Hearn asked me, "Hey, we want to talk about the Crawford fight in February. Turki Alalshikh wants to meet you in person in Los Angeles." Alvarez said, I said, "Look, I don't want to talk about the fight." A few people clearly put Alalshikh on pause. His deep investment in boxing has led many fighters to flock to Saudi Arabia or to accept purses they've never seen before to compete under his Riyadh season banner. The height of the Alalshikh ring kissing came Saturday night at the Los Angeles card, where Crawford edged Israel Madrimov by unanimous decision to win the World Boxing Association 154-pound belt, interrupting the card's flow. The Nevada Boxing Hall of Fame and promoters Hearn and Oscar de la Hoya attended a ring ceremony giving Alalshikh a special induction into the hall despite the fact he has never staged a fight in the state, while Alvarez was born to no one.
Fight and I can talk about other fights. Maybe that's why he talked about that today, because I say I'm not ready to talk about other fights.
Maybe that's why they announced this, because I said no, I don't want to talk about the fight. Alvarez said, I'm very focused on this Berlanga fight. Alalshikh previously tried to poke at Alvarez by saying he was investing in the production of the anticipated UFC card at the Las Vegas Sphere. Also, on September 14th, Alalshikh said the UFC card would eat Alvarez's show. I'm not here to insult anyone. I always fight on Mexican Independence Weekend, and I have my fans and my people, and they've never let me down, said Alvarez, who's coming off a unanimous decision win over another young contender, Jaime Munguia, weekend in May. I just do my thing. Alvarez said, I just want to fight on those days, saying he still feels he's the world's #1 fighter over Crawford, undisputed heavyweight king Alexander Usyk, undisputed junior featherweight king Naoya Inoue and others. Alvarez expressed confidence that the Mexico versus Puerto Rico angle of his fight with Berlanga stirs his countrymen to strongly support his card. I'm going to bring my best like I always do, and Mexico versus Puerto Rico pushes me even more, he said.
With Crawford? Yeah. They text me yesterday, and I say, look, I'm not gonna talk about any other fight.
It's amazing to represent my country against the territory that has so many great fighters too. Being Alvarez means a constant stream of challengers, including Crawford, wanting to fight him. It's an honor that everyone wants to fight me. Dreaming of having a fight against Canelo, he said he picked Berlanga because the unbeaten Brooklyn fighter who opened his career with 16 straight first-round knockouts is an entertaining, active younger challenger who will bring a great fight. Alvarez has never been sold on the idea that Crawford will do that since he is so small that he would have every reason to follow an elusive fight plan. He's a good boxer. I know that Alvarez said of Crawford he thinks he can do everything, but I think he knows it's a little bit different at 154. He's a good fighter, but that's why there are weight classes. I like Terence Crawford and his style, it's just different. You can see that in that fight against Madrimov, it's just different.
I'm in this position. If he wants to work with me, it's in my way, not in their way.
What was
I don't need it.
What didn't you like about how he approached? Like what?
It's not the way to approach.
As for the others, Alvarez floated the idea that it might be best to wait just a little longer to meet unbeaten former 168B title holder David Benavidez, as Benavidez pursues a date with whoever will be crowned the undisputed light heavyweight champion. When unbeaten Russians Dmitry Bivol and Beterbiev fight in Saudi Arabia on OCT 12, people want to see that fight, they'll have to pay. Alvarez said he's also interested in taking a fight in Japan, where one of the fighters he most admires, former featherweight champion Oscar Larios of Mexico, fought many times. I like to go fight by fight, but I definitely would like to have the chance to go fight in Japan. Alvarez said, I grew up watching Jorge Larios. He went to Japan a lot of times. I really want to go there and have that experience. As for Saudi Arabia, it remains to be seen if he'll ever go there. Canelo is highly unhappy with the boxing federation, including Alashikh, for his approach toward him.
Sí. Sí, no, aquí yo creo que Crawford needs to fight Teofimo first and then.
According to rumors, Alvarez might be looking to finally face David Benavidez in the near future, but the boxing star has asked for a massive $200 million for his fight, and Alalshikh appears to be not in the mood to do it Alvarez's way. Turki Alalshikh has changed the dynamics of boxing in recent years and is the major reason why the sweet science is making strides in combat sports again. However, despite this, Canelo Alvarez is not likely to follow his path, and Alalshikh feels the same way in his latest move. Alalshikh has stepped forward to give a shutdown to Alvarez while having a conversation with the media. Canelo Alvarez stated the reasons behind asking $200 million for his fight against Benavidez. Obviously he's a risk. He's a great fighter. Plus he brings to the ring on fight night 25 pounds more than me. It's a risk, but I don't care if the money's right, it can be tomorrow. Well, a $200 million fee would require a massive gate for the promoters to make any revenue, and Turki Alalshikh knows it very well.
Obviously, but I don't want that fight. I think Teofimo deserves more than me.
Taking to his X handle to disregard Canelo Alvarez's demand, I heard Canelo said that he respects me, but doesn't like the way we do business. As for him respecting me, doesn't matter to me if he does or not. As for the way I do business, why he doesn't like it because I only target big fights at fair prices, so of course anyone who likes easy fights old like that. That's not all. Alalshikh even questioned Alvarez's capability as a fighter, as he stated that Canelo is looking for easy fights, and I know how he feels after losing to Bible, so he's been looking for easier fights ever since. Also, I'm not the one who's afraid of fighting Benavidez or Crawford, therefore I knew he was wasting our time and making excuses with big amounts of money that can't be paid, so I'm continuing my way to make big fights that serve the boxing world, and he's on his way to making easy show-only fights.
Yeah.
Turki has said that he's not interested in the fight anymore. What's your reaction or your response to that?
Wait.
The situation of things must be disheartening to Terence Crawford, who had seen a fight against Canelo Alvarez as the biggest fight of his career, a fight that'll give him his highest payday. Crawford was open to the idea, but tantalizing showdown with the Mexican star, assuming a lucrative offer is put on the table. You know what they say, if the money's right, we've got to fight, he said. Ringside, Crawford continued, but at the same time he's got a fight that he's focused on with Edgar Berlanga on September 14th. I'm going to go back to my family, relax, and enjoy this win and the accomplishments I've made in boxing. When asked again about a fight with Canelo, Crawford,
It wasn't bothering me. You know, I wasn't really too much worried about the right hand. You know, he landed a couple of times at the end of the round where he was trying to steal a round.
It's not so important to me. It's just another milestone towards fame and financially wise, and that's all for now. For the very best updates on news, moments, events, and actions in the world of boxing, stay linked with us by subscribing to our YouTube channel, and don't forget to turn on notifications to get notified when we drop quality contents like this. Until next time, peace out.